So you are welcome once again. My name is John Femi, and welcoming you to this discourse. I have a guest with me, and he's the founder and the executive director of Critical Path Leadership Initiative, and of course, when it comes to the issue of governance, policy, advocacy, and all the rest of them in the development space, is a name that you can actually call on to. So I want to introduce himself, but first of all, let me mention his name. His name is Engineer Olubusayo Caleb FAGADE. So you are welcome on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here today.
Yes, okay, you're welcome. So the discourse is not just going to be usual discourse, but something on issue of policy in Nigeria. Yes, election have come and gone, but before we actually chart a way forward, I think there is need for us to discuss what are those things, what are your own take when it comes to the just concluded election.
I would say that Nigeria electoral space definitely has a lot of challenges, and which we've been experiencing since 1999, and definitely the ugly head of those challenges still came up even more strongly in some aspects of our electoral process. So, but as it is, one important variable that I would first of all congratulate Nigeria for is the fact that despite the challenge, we are happy that our country is still at peace, and people have given the process opportunity to thrive by going into judiciary, in which is the process in which the law allow us to express our grievance in political space. So in that regard, I first of all congratulate the country.
Okay, so now, what's your thought? Some people believe that, to be a patriotic Nigeria, we should give peace a chance. It's not just giving peace a chance, like saying those use all those hate speech, strong language, but some believe that let's take it a little bit further. Those who lost the election should not go about the issue of court cases and all the rest of them, that the proof of their patriotism is embedded in allowing the process to go on like that. What's your thought?
Just like we said, definitely in any election, even if 100 candidates are vying for a particular position, only one will emerge at the end of the day, no matter how keenly contested it is. And the process emphasizes all scenarios that we may find in our polity. Maybe an election being very close, an election and a process not being fully integrated as expected, and all those kind of several factors that may come up in the process of an election. But now that INEC has done the job, now declaring a winner, other people, the next thing is to look at the process. Is the outcome aligning with what the framework in which we are working with, whether they are there, whether all those things that are expected, whether they are there or not. Now, then after that evaluation, they now look at, okay, what is the next process, even if they have questions or issues or scores to track with either the political party, INEC, or whatever.
So in essence,
like we said, an important thing that I'm personally happy about is the fact that the country is moving forward in a direction that we should go.
You have not answered my question.
What is the
my question is this: what is your opinion about those who believe that those who lost the election should take their patriotism further by not going to court?
No. I will definitely not be part of people that will say that don't go to court if you have a very strong reason why you should go. It's part of the process, and we cannot even be tired of doing that, because sometimes people will say, call him and congratulate him. I may not be an advocate of call him and congratulate, even when the process, you have question mark on the process. So it's not compulsory that I call you to congratulate you. So the most important thing is nobody should be allowed, or nobody should put him or herself forward to destabilize the country. That one is more paramount and important to me than the issue of whether congratulate or not congratulate.
So you agree with the fact that there is no true peace without justice?
Of course, yes.
Okay. So
of course,
now
yes. I'm a product of policy, and any day, anytime, I debate based on policy, based on governance, not on sentiment. I don't run. Life does not run on sentiment, and Nigeria political space also will not run on sentiment. That is that is from my own side.
Thank you. At that point, let's go on a break, and we'll come back. We are still on the discourse. Yes. I think the other part we have actually discussed about the election matter, the pre-election, during election. Now let's go to the post-election. Now someone has emerged. Yes, we all believe that those who wants to go to court, it is their right to go to court. It's just that they should not say things that will set the country on fire. Yes. Now let's set agenda. You as a person, I believe you are in the policy space, and if you are to give the president-elect a mandate, what to do? What will be that's one important, it may not be one thing, but what will be those important things that you ask the president-elect to work on?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Definitely, I will love to dwell much more on the federal government aspect. And that is important because of the fact that the way we run our system today, the performance of federal government has a lot to do in the well-being of either state, local government, or the agencies of government in their ability to deliver on governance. So today, if I want to talk about, if I have the privilege of giving the president-elect an advice today, definitely my advice will be, first of all, to take a very difficult decision that we have not been strong enough to take as a nation.
And what would that be?
And the first advice is, how are we as a nation, how are we going to get rid of the issue of subsidizing the fossil fuel in Nigeria?
Okay.
I know it's an emotional topic. I know there are a lot of questions that come along with that decision or that opinion as it is from my side now. But the truth of the matter is the fact that it's just a call an important part in which the country must follow if we are to record a trajectory that will be towards growth and development. Because, and the reason is the fact that Nigeria is running close to a mono economy today, in which all our income depended on petrodollars. And by subsidizing, it's like the country is losing from two sides.
Wow.
And what do I mean by saying the country is losing from the two sides? When the crude price is high in the world, that means the amount of money that we are going to use to subsidize our fossil fuel, our byproducts, it becomes bigger and bigger based on the quantum of the increase in the price. So as a result of that, it's like as we are making more money from crude, so also we are channeling the same increase on fossil fuel subsidy. And all of us, I know definitely we will discuss that later, maybe the reason why we cannot go in the direction of subsidy of fossil fuel.
Because I'm actually coming there anyway.
I know definitely it will be a path that we will definitely get into. So now let's now look at the other side of the coin. When the crude prices are going down in the world market, the country will be crying because we will not be making more money at that particular time. That means there won't be resources for developmental projects and all that, except we kept on borrowing and borrowing. So looking at that, there is no way in which oil power or crude oil, which is the golden goose or geese, as they will say, for our country. So that means if we are losing from either when the crude price is going up or when it is going down, as a country, and that is like our heart, that means definitely we are having a life-threatening disease in which the country may not be able to move forward.
Let me come
if we
from
continue
that.
that trajectory.
Coming from that. Now, that's your advice to the president-elect.
That is the number one advice.
Okay, now let's come down to it. You said of course I think the president-elect too actually discussed it. That he even said it in a way that will hurt some Nigerians. That whether you protest, whatever you do, I'm still going to. It's the first thing that I'm going to do. That was what he said. Now, what will now be the effect of this on our economy? I wanted to paint two scenarios. Maybe this you only have one scenario, I don't know. But what will be the positive effect and what will be the negative effect? Will the negative or positive effect outweigh the one another?
Definitely. Let me talk about the fear that the populace are having. If I discuss the fact that the people, the populace, will not face daunting moments, a turbulence, economic shake as a result of removal of subsidy, I'm definitely lying.
Okay.
And the challenges ahead is quite big because it will impact on all the issues that we have been having in terms of inflation, in terms of reduction on the value of income that people are getting currently.
Let me remind you before you go ahead. Let me remind you, Nigerians, over 100 million Nigerians, according to statistics, are now falling into poverty region.
I'm coming. Because sometimes when we are discussing policy, depend on which side of the divide we belong. We may be emotional about all those statistics and the likes. I understand the statistics. It may even be bigger than what is being reported. I do not have an illusion in line with that. But the truth of the matter is the fact that there is only one pathway to glory, which is your source of income to be able to add value to you, which the opposite is the direction in which we are following as a nation today. So now, I have spoken about the fact that it will have economic effect, hardship on people.
Okay.
That is
A given.
It's a fact, and it's a fact, and I'm not shy away from that.
Now the positive effect.
The positive side of it is this: if we remove the subsidy of fossil fuel, which today Nigeria is spending close to 10 trillion naira on today. The first of all, what is going to happen by virtue of that is the fact that when we have the possibility, we have the privilege that oil price is going up, definitely the country will have more resources that can be channeled to different developmental projects with more impact on people, economy, and infrastructural development.
Now,
I'm coming.
Guys,
I'm coming.
I want to just
I will, but because people need to be educated about the reality of their country. Because when we want to talk about now, we will talk about the fact that, oh, they are subsidizing here, they are subsidizing there, and all that kind of narrative. But at those places you want to talk about, they have maybe like 3 or 4 main sources of income. You have only one source.
What happens to Nigeria? Because you are talking about other places, they have other sources. In Nigeria today, if there is any resources around the world, I believe Nigeria will have almost more than 80% of those resources in Nigeria. And what happens to our situation? Why are we focusing on just fuel alone?
Don't let us
deviate from.
Don't let us discuss this issue in this perspective. Because if we discuss this issue in this perspective, as a nation, we will remain underdeveloped. Because there is need. One thing will power the development of a nation. Now, we have a particular source today. And we are not talking about that source as potential of adding value to other aspects of our economy, which it has not been done before. Because I'm not going to discuss what brought us into the point at which we are. Because if we go back to that, it will
just
be
want to forge a way forward.
A way forward.
Yes.
Now, just like I said, a way forward is the fact that Nigeria needs to move in that direction of removing that subsidy. As a result of that, we will be able to unlock resources that we can channel into so many other parts. Education, healthcare, economy. And as a result of that, because that one is not being, that one will not be handed over to the powerful, or cabals, as some people have called them before.
Yeah. My question is this: we have done a little policy breakdown or mistake can actually cause a lot. I believe you know.
Sure.
Now, like for example, what we've just experienced in Nigeria in terms of that policy, naira redesign and stuff like that. A lot of businesses, fine, we don't have a research that has done that, but I run a business too, and I know how it has impacted my business. And if it can impact my own business, which is consulting, and which I believe, even when others are crying, we can still survive to some extent. If it can impact me so much, then I wonder what it will have happened to other small businesses. Now, that's just one policy. We talked about that time when we had fuel scarcity and all the rest like that, a lot of people, and we keep having all these over and over. And the research actually came out at the World Bank, and the rest of them believe that we have slid more than 100 million Nigeria has slided into poverty. Now we are now talking about removing, despite the fact that we have not actually gotten out of the ones that we have find ourselves already. Now some we are now saying that maybe, of course, the president-elect to take over by May 29, 2023. So we are saying that by June we should remove the fuel subsidy. What happens? Don't let's stand on the basis of being biased here, but let's discuss now. Let me quickly paint this scenario. What happens? Don't you think this will kill small businesses that are actually powering our economy in the real sense of it?
Definitely, that will not kill small businesses.
Okay.
The only thing that will happen, there will be a very strong movement in terms of maybe the way things are being done. Because when my inputs increase in prices, definitely my product will also increase. And I've actually discussed that there will be inflationary measure at the initial stage of that subsidy removal.
Sorry. Inflationary measures. Who is going to put those measures in place?
I did not say any. There will be inflationary issues.
Okay.
As a result of that removal, because like now I buy fuel at 220 today, and maybe at that particular time I will buy it at 700. Whatever I'm using that oil to produce, either in terms of service or product, definitely there will be also a quantum in the price of my product and services, and that will move across nearly all aspects of the economy, which will create an inflationary issues. Fact and figure about that. No issue.
Facts.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not saying it's not a fact. I said not figure. Facts.
It's a
now.
fact.
Facts. Okay.
It's a fact. So, and if it is a fact, there will be a figure behind it. The only thing is the percentage of that inflationary tendencies is what we do not know, but it's a fact, and there will also be figure. Definitely.
Okay, good. Now we have actually discussed that because you run a program called ESP. That's raising young entrepreneurs, I guess.
Yeah.
Raising young entrepreneurs from secondary schools. What's your agenda coming up with this?
Well, as I've said, young businesses, when the nation has good resources, there are opportunities in which there can be interventions for businesses to groom them in terms of grants, in terms of development, and that kind of resources, if it is well managed, we create a lot of value for the nation, because people, well, maybe government give grant to several entrepreneurship now. Through that, there will be possibility for people to run businesses, and wealth will be created.
Okay.
But as it is now, there are no resources in which the country can channel into that kind of value. So the powerful people that are at the aim of affair of oil and gas, they are just the ones that are benefiting more. And an economy cannot grow. If you look at economy like America and the likes, you will see that they do a lot of subsidy, but not subsidizing the powerful alone, but by subsidizing the populace. And by virtue of that, there will be resources in which people will use to buy products, services in the country, and before you know,
now let's relate to
groom and develop.
ESP. Let's relate that to ESP. I said, what's your agenda? Why do you put down ESP? Because I talked about the small businesses that they are going to be affected. You have ESP that you are running. So what's at the back of your mind coming up with ESP?
What is at the back of our mind coming up with ESP is basically that young people, they are the engine that will power any economy. And one of the challenges we've been having as a nation is the fact that people are not being trained into, have not been training for young people in the area of entrepreneurship have been quite low, especially at the secondary school level. And you will agree with me that someone with secondary school education is already a literate person. If the education is of value, because that person can read, that person can write, that person can do basic accounting,
can even apply them into real life situation.
So it is important, and what we are doing at Critical Path Leadership Initiative is that let's be a part of the support for young people towards building an informed young people towards making our country an entrepreneurial one where wealth will be created across board. And as a result of that, we will build a country that will be able to grow. And even with the way we have the possibility of expanding our GDP, per capita GDP, by about a factor of 3-4, even in the next 10-15 years, if we are serious and we focus on important variables.
So thank you very much. I'm not going to have much time to actually ask you more, but I want you to give us your parting shot in just 1 minute. Your parting shot.
Well, I want to appreciate the opportunity even to engage the public on the path in which the country must go. I want to encourage all the stakeholders, NLC, ASU, and all those kind of institutions which are stakeholders in this discussion of subsidy and the like. We should allow the impact of subsidy removal to be minimal by creating less disruption. Let there be constructive engagement of government on how we can create a kind of palliative measures, programs that will be able to reduce the impact. But if we go into the part of creating disruption, Nigerians will lose more, the country will lose more, and at the end of the day,
Okay.
at the end of the day, it will be a lose-lose situation.
Thank you very much. At this point, I want to say thank you for coming.
Thank
yes, all the way from the UK. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah. Of course, you have had him to all the stakeholders. Please, let's sit down with the government and see what are those palliatives that are in place. What are those things that will actually cushion the effect of removing the subsidy? I'm actually an advocate of removal of subsidy, but I'm not an advocate of removal of subsidy when there are no palliatives, sustainable palliative in place. So the question to all of you is, how much can you offer to make Nigeria better? Thank you very much. My name is John Oluwafemiola.